doing it. You supposed to be happy you sitting there with Kid L. Why you mad?
The Kid L podcast.
Chanel is in the building. It's finally happening.
Chanel's fixing her hair.
Oh wait, should we restart? Is like
Yes.
you good? We can go from there.
Yeah.
Listen, I remember when I first started hearing about you around 2017, 2018. All I heard was, "You're the one." Like, if anybody needs to talk to anybody to figure out anything in the Detroit music scene, to talk to Chanel. I used to hear your name thrown around like it was like God was talking, like they're talking about God or something like that, because you have the ability again to make things happen, right? And you've proven it over and over and over again, and many huge milestone of manners that you've done it in. But I do want to dive into the upbringing of Chanel. Where are you from? What was life growing up where you're from?
I am from the east side, of course. I grew up in McDonald Square, and then my grandparents, they stayed on Baldwin and Kercheval, so I used to always be between McDonald Square, Baldwin and Kercheval area. And then once I got to high school, I spent all my time with my best friends. They stayed like deeper east, where there was like so many different like high schools and just different vibes of the east side that I really didn't. I consider myself to be like a downtown east sider. But when I got to high school, my friends stayed deep east. So it was like, oh, this is a different world. So from the east side, from that area, I always was on like Outer Drive in 94 a lot. When I got to high school, I went to King as a cheerleader. When I say we turned that cheer squad up, 2003 Crusaders, like we recreated this cheer team. I always had a business mentality, or at least a hustle mentality at that time. As soon as I was able to start working, I was working at Foot Action. Yep. And I learned how to hustle. Them commission checks was looking lavish at a teenage age, just an overall teenage just world. Like that was those commission dollars just was like, oh, I'm balling. Yeah. And then from the commission structure there, once I graduated high school, I went over to Saginaw Valley University and I got into cell phone sales there. It was a company called Autel, and they were a direct competitor to Verizon Wireless. So I worked for them first, then they went out of business, and I applied for Verizon in Detroit. It was my junior year. I was ready to come home, though. The commission checks from Autel, again, like the commission thing just like kind of stayed there. Commission checks from Autel were like, what degree? I got myself. I don't need you to do nothing else for me no more. These commission checks, like I'm a good sales rep. So I applied to come back to Detroit through Verizon Wireless, and I worked at the St. Clair Shores location as a retail sales rep. And I had started doing sales, so like the commission there now we even more amped up, like we 3 times the amount when I first started in sales. And at that point, I realized that there were a lot of small business owners that were coming into the store, and they would like try to find a way to put 3 or 4 phones on a personal or a family account. But I knew that there was a business option for small businesses, 0 to 99 capacity or employee size. So I started selling directly to small business owners. They would come in as a family man with his family, and I'm asking the open-ended questions and really just like digging deep into the business. And then I started realizing like this is kind of fun. Like I like learning about businesses while I'm making these commissions. My sales started getting so out of hand. Like as a sales rep, all I sold to was this small business sector. I was the youngest in there, and they promoted me to what was called a business account executive. That position, I was 21 walking into this role, and I was the youngest in this 9-to-5 strict business office. I went from retail to business sales, and I had to then directly sell to a territory of people, and then I had to go out and like find these sales door to door, or leads would come in. And this is Verizon, so it was like a different, like we talking now 6 figures as a sales rep. And wow. I started killing the sales there. Life got boring. 9 to 5, you selling. I had my oldest son Demetrius in 2009, and I'm like, gotta be more. Like, what else can I do? So my 2 best friends were like, we're gonna start throwing parties. So we started throwing parties on the weekend. Head Turner Entertainment. So if you were around during that time, there wasn't a lot of like female promoting groups, and there were some, but we came through fly, beautiful, smart. We all three had jobs. We were just on our shit.
Yeah.
And we knew a lot of people. So I went to King. My two friends, they were from the West Side. So those two combined, we were like downtown just running it, throwing parties everywhere. Through that, I started meeting a lot of DJs, a lot of promoters. We all just became like a part of this promotion conglomerate, all while I'm still working at Verizon. So one party, it was like this really big summer party. Sino was there. At the time, I didn't know who Sino was. Like, oh, that's Sino. Like, I knew of the music, but I just didn't know. And after he started buying like booths from us, like every week he would come to our parties. We were throwing parties with Ty from District 81, Bravo. Like, we were all throwing parties, and he would come. And at one point he got on Twitter and was like, at Chanel Dominique, will you manage me? And I'm like, what did he pick me for? Like, I don't know how to. But I was a music head. I love Jeezy. I used to feel like Jeezy needed me to be his manager back then when he was going back and forth with Gucci. I had a whole plan for this man. Like, you cannot attack him like this. Like, I literally was tweeting him, trying to tell him what he should do and how to market his diss records to this man. I just love Jeezy, so I took his side for whatever reason back then. Loyal, you know, she was trapping, I was corporate thugging. It made sense for me. He got me to work every morning. So it just was like, yeah, I'm riding for Jeezy. And when he sent that tweet, I initially was like, I don't even know how I'm going to respond to this. And my homegirl who I was throwing parties with, Tanisha, tweeted him back for me and said, oh, yeah, she'll do it. Like, okay.
Right.
But that was like that moment where it went all in. Even before that, like, you know, I was trying to get my feet wet in the music thing, but I wasn't making it public. Like, not a lot of people knew. I was working with one guy's name was Tony Cash. And I mean, I just did the most minute things, but it was just like, okay, whatever. But when Sino hit me, I'm like, how do he know about me? Like, what are we talking about? I said, boo, you hadn't even seen my artists in the clubs or anything. So it was just like a surprise factor to me that he had asked. However, when we did that, we created one of the strongest marketing plans that Detroit has seen. And all while we're doing this and I'm working with Sino from the West Side, the East Side was like going crazy. I didn't even... Like, when I lock in on something, I lock in on that. I don't really see everything else outside of that. It's tunnel vision. Like, I'm straight on that. So I'm straight focused on Sino and the Where's Sino campaign. And after that, it took off. Everybody knew about it. And then I met Vezzo through a mutual friend who was like a brother to me. We went to high school together. After that, it was just like, you in it, and you in it to win it. I left Verizon, and here we are.
So Sino wasn't like super established, was he? Was he like kind of in the midst of coming up?
He had a huge Detroit following. Like, right. He had a lot of Detroiters. And then with his brother playing basketball, like he was popular, and he had a couple records that people were very familiar with. The clubs, like they would really play his records. So it wasn't necessarily like radio where you would hear it, radio mix show wise all the time, but he had a real popularity amongst the party scene, and in his world of like that Finkel, that whole area, like Sino was always well respected and known of. Did
you ever ask him like, why did you decide to hit me up for management?
You know, it's crazy. I ain't never had to. It was just like, even when he's even said, it was just like something just connected. Like, you know, I think confidence speaks louder than anything. You never got to say what you do, but when you walk in with confidence,
right?
A person who on a business can look at you and see where you could do just about anything. And they may believe in you more than you believe in yourself, just off of how confident you are in yourself.
So he saw the potential probably, and you didn't even realize like you could help him with this marketing and putting him out there on the map like that. Yeah. How did you develop these strategies if you hadn't been a part of the music industry as far as dedicating your time towards an artist? Did you just take everything you learned from your previous jobs and from those strategies, or did you come up with something new?
Verizon, for one, I could take it even back to Foot Action. So my manager at the time was Jason Gamble. He's the coach, the men's basketball coach at Renaissance High School right now. And so Jason, like, I to this day think about those who put or instilled in me some type of like defining moment or power piece. And with Jason, he showed me how serious sales is, and no matter what it is that you're selling, as long as you're serious and confident about it, you can sell it all, but you gotta also know how to present it. So he taught me presentation. We would have to put the clothing out on the mannequins, the marketing, the presentation of things. That started opening me up to the sweeter you make this mannequin look, the more people gonna walk past this, come back and want to buy it. So I took that skill, applied it into Verizon when I had to put together like different creative ideas to go out and market myself as a sales rep. Everybody get a cold call nonstop. You got people calling from T-Mobile, Verizon, Comcast, everywhere. You have to figure out how do you make yourself different. So I used to have to like create different creative ways that I would pop into your office or that I would call to start a conversation. Still going back to figuring it's the layer of marketing of just how you present it. So when it came to the music part, as long as I knew the title and understood who you were, I would just sit there and think like, okay, this is what we doing. Where's Sino? Where can you find Sino? Everywhere popular. So we take every day for the whole weekend, 2 weekends straight, and we go to every popular shopping place, club, bar, wherever, and make people figure out where's Sino. He's here. He's always here. And it's like everything I may not ever hear the music, but if I know the artist or I can understand the artist and I can see the title, know the title, we getting a plan.
And obviously, you being associated with Detroit culture makes it easier for you to understand where people are going to go and what they're consuming, right?
Correct.
So you have to be a Detroiter to understand how to get Detroiters to buy into something or believe in something, right? It wasn't just as easy as like, I'm going to take this artist and all that. You actually understand the culture. So that's why nobody can come in and just do what you're doing, because there's that whole element to it as well of understanding your surroundings and your culture like it is. So do you feel like that put you in a position where you could have taken on much bigger artists at the time? Or do you feel like stepping into where Vezzo was at, he was getting hot, money phones dropping and everything like that, do you feel like it was good to go to that next level? Or do you feel like you could have just jumped to you said you wanted to work with, what was it, Jeezy a second ago, right? So do you feel like you were ready for that at that time? Or do you feel like you were right?
I was ready, and still am ready for whatever.
You were ready for Jeezy at that time after...
I felt like it, and you couldn't tell me that I wasn't.
Really?
For sure.
That's crazy.
And I was there when we released Money Phone. Like, we released it. It started going... They released it before I started working with him, and then we re-released it, and then we took it, like... Now we going radio. Now we hitting summer jams. We went... So, a lot of it was, like, to understand, okay... Money Phone don't sound like what most Detroit street rap songs sound like, and it don't sound like what the industry Detroit street rap is. This is like, how do we continue to sell to this? Like, how do we continue to market this to make sure that people buy into it? Fortunately enough, he's always been popular, so people had already been bought into who Vezzo was.
Right.
It was just about how do you influence, and then next thing you know, he started influencing the culture. So it just kind of like all stars were just like aligning in that manner of it, and when it's meant, it happened. It was meant to be.
Now you said when you didn't just like straight up like say I'm not working with Sino anymore and I'm gonna work with Vezzo, like it kind of like combined.
No, listen, I worked with Sino, and then I still took on Vezzo, Peezy, AP.
Rocky Bad told me you guys worked together for a little while.
Yep, when at one point Vezzo, when we first started Icewear Records, Vezzo and myself, we worked with Rocky. He wanted to sign Rocky. We had her under the label, her and Lando.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a special place in my heart for them too, always.
So Lando is obviously not a rapper. Like, how would you guys have like?
No, Vezzo was investing in him. Like, he just was like saw an amazing structure or an amazing entrepreneur and wanted to see him win.
Yeah.
So he invested in the business of Lando. Like, it was never about, he never could put himself out to be an artist.
Talk about day one, you and Vezzo have a conversation about you managing him. What's the conversation like?
It actually wasn't a like me and Vezzo conversation. It was a me, B. Allen, and T conversation. Star Status Music Group, B. Allen. So first off, Free B, that is like an amazing entrepreneur. He definitely just came full of motivation. Like, he's always believed in Vezzo's movement and what Vezzo could be. And he came to me and just, I want you to do this. So I went and met with them. And the first time I met Fierce, it was the first time I met him, I got a smart mouth, so I just was like, I don't like what he got on. I don't like what you got on. And from that moment on, that boy came like, oh, you think what's up? Like, the clothes was never a question after that, which it just was, I was bougie as hell, and I didn't understand, like, what the street culture wear was. I knew what I'm used to and what I want to see a rapper wear, which was some luxury, and it was still luxury. It just wasn't what I was used to. So he still, you know, he came with what he was supposed to come with. I just thought different. Like, I would like to see something different. I just thought I knew everything back then, from how you should dress to how you should talk. You couldn't tell me nothing back then, and I was wrong a lot of times.
You think it was like an icebreaker though between you guys, or it's like, oh, she's willing to check me immediately, like immediately you're gonna get into it with me? All right, bad. Like, she's the one. They always say like managers need to have a lot of backbone, right? Like, you can't be like, you know, weak. You have to be able to just stand up and say what you really believe in at that moment for people to believe in you, right? Yeah. So you guys meet, and then how do you start strategizing? Do you just sit down at a table, or like do you just start hanging around and seeing how he moves? Like, how do you guys start strategizing how you're gonna make him bigger and bigger?
We had an office back then, and we would just kind of sit and brainstorming with everybody as a team and just figure out what we needed to do, what we had coming, what we wanted to do going forward. I mean, it's not as like red tape textbook as you think with us. Like, we brother and sister. So, no. You know, a lot of times it just, this what it is, this what we need to do. We know what our goal is. We're going to do everything it takes to reach that goal. Let's put the plan together. We'll sit on the phone for hours and hours, or text or whatever, to figure out what that looks like, and then we attack.
Do you feel like, with how many people were involved in his group at that time as far as helping coordinate and marketing and everything like that when you joined?
There was, it was 4 of us.
And so, like, did anybody have that kind of idea to have these type of meetings and stuff like that, or to literally strategize like this, almost like it's a company? Like, Icewear Vezzo? We
always knew what we wanted from the beginning. We used to say, and this was nothing that he knew directly, but we used to always say we wanted to go the Macklemore way. How Macklemore went and got a Grammy without having to be signed to a major. Like, we saw early on that the Detroit street rap was going to be difficult. We saw early on that the Detroit street rap was like, we got a hit song, Money Phone. We got all of these different things that we working on. He's doing summer jams. He's shutting it down. And where's the deal offer? And this was like early, like this is 2014, 15, 16. And we just like, well, what else do we need to do? And we started finding out early on in early label meetings, or early just sit down conversations with people within the industry that still was some grooming to be done to our music. They didn't understand it. So a lot of, like, even when we got signed, a lot of what we had to do, what I had to do, what he had to do, was explaining why we don't make songs with chorus, why we want to keep dropping, why our videos on YouTube so important. It took years to get that leaf to turn over on a major level, all the way to the point where, I mean, it happened repetitiously, whether it was Vezzo or whoever. When you do interviews outside of here, back then, the first thing they asked was like, who's the next Big Sean? Or, you know, expecting the Detroit artist that they're talking to in this interview, or that they're meeting in this producer's meeting, to sound like what they hear out of Big Sean or Eminem. Right. Not realizing there's a whole new culture that was always brewing. Team Eastside, Doughboys, there was a huge sound that was just like flying under the radar the whole time. We were always under these labels' noses. They just didn't understand on the infrastructure, how do I turn this into a mainstream record? A few years ago, I accepted it, like, we don't have to shoot for the stars to be a mainstream sounding market. But we do gotta shoot for the stars and beyond, for them to understand that we still deserve our respect, that we still have a sound, and we still have a wide plethora of people that like it.
Well, I always figured that they just like money, right? So, like, if they see that you guys are making money, you're making sales, people are pulling up to see them at summer jams, all these things are happening. They don't look at like the return on that. Like, the guy's killing it right now.
That's now. Back then, I mean, it's a shot. That's just as saying like take a gamble on this. It's something new. Scared to take a risk because it's not as if our sound came right off the bat and went viral, or it came right off the bat and we went mainstream radio. This shit came out and we had to, every manager, we had to work. Like really had to kick the doors down to work it. So it was never anything that was like easy to come. So whenever something's easy to come, of course, it happens quickly. This was always something that you had to understand, a new dynamic. Wow. You asking us to give you a course, that in itself enough, it's like, they like to freestyle on these raps. And it goes in. So, and people like it. It was never always about the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was about really, and that's just me personally. Like, it was more so about how do we get this to a point where we not like a new Motown, we are the Motown. Like, we are the epitome or the new definition of what creation and what artistry is. And when I used to say this all the time, a lot of our Detroiters are on so many mainstream records. You may not even see the name in the public, but you'll see it in the credits. You'll hear about it in the studio conversations. There's somebody from Detroit. There's an influence of Detroit on almost everything with motion, everything that's taken off. So, like, what is the disconnect with the street rap? So for me, I don't think, like, with the labels, it couldn't have been the money, because if it was the money, then they would have took that shot. And because we still were growing that sound and it wasn't fully implemented, they would have either had to put that machine all the way to the gas to make it turn up how they needed it to, and they had to trust and believe in that process. Detroit don't have nobody in these buildings. What Detroiter is an actual, for real, A&R, ever? What Detroiter is in there, like, fighting for our sound? It's not until we get signed and we go in there and turning in music and saying, this is our sound. This is why we want to put it out like this. We want to drop every 2 weeks. We want to drop every week. Meanwhile, they frontline artists is once every 30 days or once every 60 days, a new single or video. No, we coming, and we're going to keep dropping. This was they saw us spending more than we saw making money at that time.
So throughout the time of them seeing him obviously succeed and obviously getting to new heights and everything like that, when they circle back around, is the conversation like kind of moot at that point? Like, where it's like, all right, we don't want to talk about this anymore. We're past what we even wanted from you guys in the first place.
No, we never. It's not what I'm talking about. Not just Vezzo in specific.
Yeah.
Like, but because everybody's scenario with a label is different. Everybody's scenario and interaction with the industry is different. This is just about overall and breaking our sound. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, didn't any of the labels circle back around after they started seeing the flourishing success of a lot of these artists? Some
of them did.
So, and then what are those conversations like? Are you communicating with them, or you're like, we already got past what we needed?
What's the business? Yeah. It's no reason to sit up and explain the past. If you back and you hear and you see what's going on, what do you want to do? We either gonna talk about the business or you gonna marvel over it.
Right. And the things that they were offering now, would you have accepted those before the success had happened? And now it's like not as appealing because the success is already there for these artists?
The types of deals that you see right now that's put on paper from the label direct, they all gonna be the same. The type of deals that thrill me is when the artist and their team can reconstruct that deal and architecture it for what they need it to be.
When you're developing with Vezzo, you said you guys re-released Money Phone. Was that a strategy you had implemented yourself, or did you guys just already know that was going to be a plan?
The re-release it was just a reshooting of the video.
Oh, okay.
This one is a bigger video.
Okay, for sure. To kind of walk us through the timeline of that now. He's obviously taking off. Is
this my interview or this Vez interview?
What's that mean?
Cause you asking me all these questions about Vez.
Oh, because you're a part of it. You're a part of that success, aren't you? Doesn't it coincide?
I mean, yeah, but there's so much more to know.
Oh, for sure. Oh, girl,
I just have to ask.
If you have a time limit, then we'll just cut. We
good. I had to ask.
Oh, no, hell no. Well, I look at the success of anybody that helps somebody else's success as a joint success. So the way to identify it is who was getting pushed at that moment. He was getting pushed at that moment. Who was helping him get pushed at the moment? You were helping him get pushed at that moment. Without you, who knows what the success would have been? It wasn't Vezzo pushing you. it was you pushing Vezzo really at the end of the day. I can see how it can go both ways. I wasn't there to see it happen, but that's why we talk about the artists.
Yeah, anytime you're in the industry though and you're a team, it take for not just one person to push another. It takes a team effort for everybody to push everybody. Like we all had those moments where we feel like it's over with. I'm done with this. I don't want to do it. Da, da, da. But as a team, yes, of course, it's always balanced. You got to have.
I think a lot of the intrigue of anybody who watches you, especially a female entrepreneur, would want to know the process of developing and building and the whole length of it, because nobody knows how you accomplished what you've accomplished. Right?
This is my only thing. A lot of this stuff that we've accomplished, a lot of the things that I've done, it's almost like when you put it out there, is it even respected for real?
Hell
because it's respected by I think it's pockets, because you see a lot of respect go to people who just talk and ain't did nothing. But then you got those that really in the mud, like really working and really doing it, and we become so conformed to that it damn near be like, I forgot I even did that.
But it sounds like you're trying to discredit yourself.
Oh no, I'm not discrediting myself. No, I'm humble.
Well, but there's truth beyond humility, right?
Correct.
Like if you did something, you did it. You don't have to.
And I stand on that. No, what I'm just saying is that I guess because it's been so long and we've done so much more since then, it's like when you operate as a machine, which I've turned myself into a machine, when you operate as a machine, the things that you've done in the past or whatever you did to get there, a lot of times you got that packaged up in a suitcase in your brain, and it's just like sitting over there as I know what I did archives, because you got so much other stuff going on and the goal hasn't been met yet. Like for me, what we've accomplished, what I've accomplished, it's cool, it's great, but there's so much more that's light to where I want to go.
Okay.
So it's not to discredit myself or the work that I've done. I stand on that.
Yeah.
I walk with my head super high because I know what I've done has not been done before. But what I'm saying is that we're right now stuck in a culture that's hung up on what you see on the internet as to be like, oh, you did that, I respect that. Meanwhile, there's us that's behind the scenes that's really putting the work in.
Right.
And we're so conformed to that work that we don't even gloat over it. We don't sit up and, no, what's next?
That's true.
That's how I move.
That's true. But at the same time, people are trying to hear the damn story.
All right.
All right, damn. Can we
You
tell
have
the
to
story?
buy my book.
Damn, you have a book?
It's coming soon.
Okay, yeah. The book's going to be very interesting. Well, let's walk through the timeline. What I'm trying to do is guide people through the timeline that's interested in hearing your success and hearing how you've developed what you've developed. We're going to walk through Vezzo, not to say is this Vezzo's interview, but I'm saying to say what were you doing along that time to help strategize and market? What were you doing at those times to help push things forward? What was it like for you? And just walk us through kind of the timeline of that. I know it's crazy, but just hit us with the shit.
So you ever heard of like the manager wear multiple hats?
Yeah.
I like when we were in the mud and really figuring it out and grinding it up and running out clarities and all of these different projects, I would literally, I don't care what hat I had to wear to make our team operate, to make the train go. I'm doing it all. So if it meant I had to drive plus manage plus road manage plus take the pictures and make sure we get back, and I'm talking about driving hours for hours, going up north, down to Atlanta, to North Carolina, and back, through Ohio, like, and still managing the operation. Like, it builds a different type of strength within you, but as a woman, you also look at that, like for me, I find mechanical things as therapy. Driving, cooking, that's therapy for me. While I'm driving, you can't talk to me. I can just focus on this. And I might have a real conversation with you depending on how long we got to drive, but for the most part, I'm focused on the road because I'm thinking and I'm really plotting. Same thing when I cook. So for years, like, I would take on and just, do whatever it takes to get our team to where we have to go. A lot of like, for a bulk of it, it was just me and Vezzo.
Yeah.
And then his cousin, Adrian, in LA, he would help us as well. Like, he was a part of our team in those, like, 2016, 17, and beyond. Like, he came on board. So I would work on 2 different time zones.
Yeah.
not knowing that back then that was getting me prepared for like right now. Back then we were just like plotting, talking, a lot of talking of what we wanted to do.
How are you able to like manage your family life while you're doing this? Because it's like you're almost having like two families at the same simultaneously.
You do. I do. My fiance. So I have a very, like, it's my best friend. So he understood and believed in this right when I did. Might have had questions like, you about to do what? From going to do what? However, he stuck it out, believed in it. That's the father of my children. So he'll play about his boys. I don't play about my boys. We don't play about our kids. So if I'm not there, he there, or if whatever the case may be, like he makes sure that that house is held down. If that house not held down, I can't operate. I can't think straight. I can't do if my kid, I can't operate in any of this to take care of somebody else's livelihood, career, whatever, in my household not straight.
Right. And
that's why that balance doesn't come without the right type of partner.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you got to know things are locked down at home, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of reason a lot of male artists always say that they started tumbling is because they fell in love or something like that, or they got a girl pregnant, they have kids, and they just like can't keep the balance going or whatever.
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
I've heard that too many times.
I mean, you gotta, even if you fall in love with a girl, whatever, you gotta really think with your brain. When you step into these types of relationships and you become this father or whatever, or you in this long-term relationship, it's a partnership. Whether you married or not, it's still a partnership. And in that, it has to be a clear, open communication. You gotta know what you signing. And no, I'm not talking about a physical piece of paperwork that you sign. I'm talking about in your physical, in your mind state of, I'm in this relationship with this person. I looked at all your flaws, I looked at all your good, and I accepted that. So I'm signing this and saying I'm willing to be in a relationship with you, or whatever we do, whatever the situation is. That person know what they're getting into. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're a rapper, you are whatever, that partner they should be doing whatever to help motivate, push, and encourage you to do what you got to do. That's really like, that genuine support. When you say like you want support from your homeboys or whatever, you need support from your partner just as much as you do them. Your partner who you sleep with at night. That's who you get on the phone with and you vent to. That's what's going to preach you off the cliff when you're ready to jump.
Do you ever have to have those conversations with your artist about maintaining relationships do you ever watch their personal relationships and be like, this is kind of distracting you from your career, or do you stay out of personal life?
I mind my business.
You mind your own business with your artist pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you see it. Do you see it though? Mm-hmm. Do you see it happening? And
not with my artists, but I see it with artists that I'm around. Or I do see it where there's this relationship or the streets, the relationship with the streets, the relationship with whatever can distract you from the ultimate goal. And it happens a lot, but again, depending on the nature of it, it's not my business.
That's kind of cool. You just stick to your own business. Like, I'm not gonna pry into
how
what you got.
How can I worry about what you got going on? And I gotta figure out how we about to make these millions.
Right.
I got to figure out how we gonna keep these brand relationships together. I can't worry about your personal relationships, and I gotta worry about our professional and brand relationships or whatever. You handle that. I got this.
When you're organizing your business, and we'll just put managing as one part of the business. Obviously, you have a whole nother business. Obviously, you got the chip company, right? Do you sit at a computer table and just zoom out and see everything like a globe? Like, I know what I'm gonna do here, or is it just fire at will? Like whenever you come to thinking.
I used to just be all over the place. Nothing was successful when I did that. Nothing. Like I was, I do this, I do that, I do this. Nothing was successful when I just did it. But the moment I started taking a moment, really moving off intention, really setting the tone of what it is I'm trying to do and accomplish for that day, that week, that month, and that year, that is where the alignment really started happening. And then I had to start, and I just this year started doing this, where I got into a habit of the day before, before I do anything, I have to write out what all I got to do the next day. If I didn't get anything done if whatever I was supposed to get done the day of that I'm writing prior to, whatever I didn't get done goes on that list for first thing in the morning. And just prioritize from there. What else got to get done? What's about to approach a deadline? If I don't wake up to a checklist, it's a problem.
So you keep super organized on all lengths, like just to have a journal with you or data or your phone or whatever it takes.
Yeah,
to make sure you
I
stay-
got Sharpies in my purse with notepads and yes, I'm like Office Depot on wheels.
Right. It makes a lot of sense, right? To be able to actually see what you're supposed to do besides just thinking about it in your mind what I'm supposed to do.
Cause imagine how many like ideas can come to mind in a day. And if your ideas are coming and you trying to be creative and really tap into this creative space, you trying to remember this idea from noon. Meanwhile, 3-4 phone calls that came in that just fire drilled your whole day, and now you like, what was that? No, I'm writing everything down. I'm organizing. Like, your phone call not about to throw me off today. Text me. Make sure you text me. That everybody, I said it to everybody. Make sure you text me.
I watched one of your talks. I think it's literally your only talk that's actually on the internet.
Yeah.
But I watched it, and it was very interesting to hear how your mind works, especially when it comes to all investing yourself into something and really being a part of something. And it's not just about getting small wins. It's about the whole piece of the pie, right? So with the way you're talking, how did you accumulate the balance that you have? I mean, these jobs sound like they helped you, right? You know, you worked at the shoe store, you worked with Verizon. Like, I'm sure those things help balance you, but how did you balance yourself in your personal life, like spiritually?
First off, I had to get way more in tune with God and myself, my relationship with him. I had to pray more. I learned how to meditate. I learned how to really start slowing the world down and figuring out all of these different podcasts, Oprah Winfrey, all this stuff I watch. And they all keep talking about how they control their they control their environment. How you controlling this? It wasn't until I started meditating, recognizing what it is I want to do, and accepting, setting my intentions of what I need to do to hit that goal, that I realized, like, oh, I can control this.
Yes.
I can. Once I start figuring that out, everything just start falling in place.
So you're a huge advocate for meditation and taking control of your mind, body, and energy, right? Obviously, at the end of the day. My favorite quote about meditation is by Kobe Bryant. He said, before I started meditating, the day took control over me. After I started meditating, I took control of the day. And that's exactly how it feels when you get yourself balanced within. But how'd you pick that up? Did you go online and be like, I'm fucked up? Like, how do I fix this? Like, how'd you figure out how to get into meditation and yoga?
Why do I feel so angry and nobody made me mad?
Yeah, type shit.
Law of attraction. Excuse me.
Is it a book?
So I looked up Rhonda Byrne, and I was fascinated. I had always kind of like heard about the law of attraction, but until I read her book, The Secret, like, I feel cliche saying this because you hear it so much, but baby, I went deep. Once I found her and The Secret, then I went to The Hero, The Power, The Secret of Money, The Secret of Relationships. Like, I went through her entire library. Every time she dropped a book, I was on it. Audio books loaded, and I have the physical copies. Then I started giving the books out to all my circle, my people in my circle for Christmas and birthdays. They was getting books from Rhonda Byrne. When I studied her, read all her books, I still felt like, okay, I get the law of attraction, but how do I really like tap into this, like, all the way? Like, what is what is it? Is it real? Is it real? And then once I started researching the people she would quote different spiritual leaders or whatever, not even spiritual leaders, but just different motivational speakers, actors, professionals who all live off the law of attraction. And through that, I found like Oprah's heavy on it. Tyler, this is years ago. I'm like, oh, wow. And I started with the smallest thing of just being happy. Like, no matter what's going on in the day. At the time, I was living in a apartment building. I didn't want to stay there because it was like, you go through the ups and downs. Like, I left a 6-figure job to go work as an artist manager. So there's a difference in income, especially when you're trying to come off the ground and get out of a desert of an industry. So I had to figure out, how do I just be happy about the place that I'm in and still be still like not suppress my feelings, address them and release it.
Right.
And then through that, I started learning deeper about meditation, chakras, and just all of these different ways. And then it's time to just get closer to what I feel is the Most High, God.
So you do really feel like you're taking control over the day when you wake up and after your meditation and yoga and the way you're setting the condition for your life to be able to maneuver through, which is one of the hardest industries in the world, which is hip hop and rap. It has to be one of the hardest industries to be a part of. Like, no question about it. Not only because of unfortunate, like, the street affiliations with it and what goes on in the streets and all that, the gang violence and whatnot that happens in a lot of rap culture, but also because in my opinion, a lot of rappers I met are a little ill-tempered. So you got to deal with a lot of different personalities and shit. It's kind of like, damn, son, how the fuck am I going to handle you today?
I'm laughing because I'm just as ill-tempered.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You can't come to me with a cup of coffee and don't think that I don't got the whole Keurig coffee and cream, sugar, everything to go with it. So, and the thing is, like, when I first started getting into it, the law of attraction and just being what I want to attract, and people would come to me with that negative energy, I gave it right back. So I kept getting it. You give me sauce, I'm giving you saucer. You give me black, I'm giving you blacker. We going there. Like, you just couldn't turn me off to the point where it's like, this motherfucker crazy. Yes, I am. And you gonna know not to fucking play with me. You see why my hair red now, huh? However, I learned that that's just not that's not healthy for me. That's not healthy for my family. That's not healthy for the business culture or the environment that I even want the people that work with me and work for me to be around. So I had to really start going through these inner challenges of dealing with, okay, every time something negative come, I either got to dismiss it or just straight up, you know what? I'm sorry you feel that way. Let's figure out how we fix it with a smile on my face, baby. That is tough. But that greatest challenge showed the most strength. I win every time.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to knock that off because I'm going to give you way more power than you give me. Negative, even though it's a power from a low vibration, like super low. My positive energy is so high, you going to lose every battle you come with me with when you come with that negativity. Right. Even when I feel like somebody playing with me or trying to get down, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I play chess.
And you feel good about it, too, at the end of the day, because if you get into turmoil with somebody during the day, it's not only you make them feel like garbage, but you go home feeling garbage. Is everything good?
I just want to pull her mic stand away from the...
Oh, cool.
This real life, y'all. This is what I do in a regular conversation
working.
Anyway. Hey, listen.
First person to work during the podcast, literally.
I was wondering what my first was going to be. And initially, I'm like, the first female manager that really get to it. I was like, no, first redhead. Like, damn. What am I?
You ever see those memes? They're like, can I get this woman after the redhead phase? You ever see that shit? You never seen that? Like, no. When did you dye your hair red?
This 2016.
2016? I could have sworn I saw pictures of you that weren't like, must have been flashback.
That was the year prior when I was throwing parties.
Oh, okay.
When I threw parties, I had black hair. My last party, as a party promoter, my hair was red. And that was the transition.
What does red symbolize?
My grandmother, we call her Granny Red. Granny Red. I lost her, but she still lives within me no matter what. Red hair just, I don't know, it's just a reminder that, because she comes from a place of strength. She taught me a lot of strength. I mean, a lot. Like in ways that you don't see these days. So this is my, the red hair has always been like my thing to my grandma.
It's very cool. I like when people do stuff like symbolize something from their life and like they implement it somewhere. Like kind of like in the movies when there's like hidden messages or like subconscious like thoughts they put out throughout the movie. I think we need to get back to doing that, right?
Yeah.
Not just making everything so straight on.
Just have like her hair. The crazy thing is like she had what they would call red hair back then, but it was really like a dirty blonde kind of color red. So for me, I've always been like the firecracker of the family anyway. So, it's like, you know what? I'm going red like my granny red, and I'm going red.
What do you think, like, on an honest scale, as much work that you're putting in? Again, you have a company, you're managing, you like you said, you wear a lot of hats. Hours-wise per day, how many hours are you putting into work a day?
I don't count.
You don't count? Is it just like it's every hour of the day that you're working no matter what, even if you're just on your phone just doing something real quick? So there's no, what's your break time? Like, when
I meditate,
really?
I go on Do Not Disturb. When my fiance's birthday or major holidays, don't mess with me. It's their time. If my fiance specifically say, I need you this day, chill out. Dude, I gotta do that. So
But it's like usually the opposite way around in the entertainment. It's usually that the man is like out there like dominating, and then the woman's like, no, you need to stay here, like Rocky Balboa type shit.
He ain't know. He like music, but this ain't his industry. He be like, woo, no.
As far as the, you have the chip brand out. It's We Eatin, right? And so I saw that one really cool concept that you guys did with the chips is you guys put these codes on them, right? So people can scan, and like if Icewear Vezzo's on a bag of chips or any rappers on a bag of chips, you can stay updated to what it's actually going on with them, right?
Correct.
Did anybody ever do that before? Like with artists?
Rap Snacks, when I did the research, they've always had a QR code, but it led back to their site. The whole dynamic that the whole We Eatin came from was to create some type of like direct to consumer product that allow all of these artists in this market that I thoroughly enjoy to see winning. How can you eat beyond the music? What is the retirement plan? What's the next step for us? And it's not just about the artists, because we're going to be launching influencers. We're going to be launching small business owners. It's all about how you are eating and how you making sure your team eat along the way. So
are you like, it sounds like you're building an empire.
I am.
That's what it sounds like is happening right now.
I am.
Like media departments, food departments, rapping departments, like damn.
Event planning.
How many people are with you as far as your team is concerned?
My team is 6 of us.
Okay. Can you kind of name what each individual person's kind of like what they kind of do to some degree?
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? Because I have such a wide plethora of stuff, I got 2 assistants that literally work with every piece of every company that I have or everything that I tap into. Like my assistants are my artist assistants. They are the company assistants. Like they believe in it just as much as I do. I have project managers who, depending on the project that we take on, because I have a consultant firm. So depending on what project or artist or business that we take on, certain project managers that help put together marketing rollouts and help oversee it. And then I also have just like those, hey, look, I need to move this big couch because I got this event I just put together. Can you come get it right now? And they be on it. So it's a mixture. It's like I'm not giving titles because I'm braising up young bosses. I'm not doing titles because I want them to be a boss whether they with me or not. While I build, like they, of course that builds that. Oh, I'm not leaving. I'm staying here and I'm gonna own my position, whatever that is. Yeah. Until I turn into like a multi-million-dollar company, it's no titles. Everybody's a boss. Own your position, whatever that is.
That's really, really cool. It's like a new way of kind of managing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not really titling everything. There's no hierarchy when you do that, right? It's
Correct.
almost like nobody's the king.
Everybody can be held accountable.
Yeah. Now, you were the first person to bring Kash Doll on my couch. Right?
Okay, because listen,
you did do that.
I did.
If it wasn't for you, I don't think that would have happened, right?
That
was crazy. That was insane. You facilitate a lot of stuff in Detroit, like I said earlier. I hear a lot of people talk about you when connections are built in here. Just tap on the Kash Doll conversation. You guys do have some type of similarities when I communicate with both of you. I don't know what the hell it is. Like, is there a cousinship or something? Like, how did you guys meet?
We are like soul sisters. That's my girl. Like, we see eye to eye. We know, like, let's go get that bag and let's do this business. And that's that girl. She's something different. That's my girl. That is my sister. We go beyond the business. We would sit up all night and just laugh at our kids, laugh at just growth. That's somebody she's in my inner circle regardless. business or not.
Bro, that's so cool. Did you did you ever manage her like full on?
Road management.
Okay.
She always had a different day to day that was like out in LA or whatever the case. I've always been like road manager. And then when Vezzo came home, it just transitioned into just, you know, making sure that everything she need in Detroit, like we handle that on a larger scale. And then we're going to start working on some community engagement stuff for 2024. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, we got some stuff coming up. Everybody that I'm working with is on some different, like, we in this mode of like, we ain't got to talk about it. We just in the behind the scenes just working. And I love that because it allows me to really see like 2024, like what more can we do? Because this is what we know for sure we already got going. It just, that's the type of rotation I want to see.
When you guys were making your way up during that time, kind of during, again, Money Phone releases, everything's kind of pushing forward from there. How many artists are you taking on at that time? And was it becoming more strenuous as you would add people? Because I know it wasn't just obviously Vezzo.
It was tough. I had Peezy, I had Sino, I had AP, Vezzo, myself, my kid. I didn't have two at the time. I just had Demetrius. It was a strain because in no way was I perfected. Sino and I, like, that was a breakup, but we brother and sister, so it was just like, but it was a defining moment for me to realize you can't take on everything. You can't spread yourself too thin because somebody's gonna feel like you're not giving all of what you can give, and they see your potential, especially when they know your potential.
Right.
So that moment for me, because at one point it was just like, you know, I want to see Sino go where he want to go. You know, I want to see more. I want to see greater things for AP. I want to see great things for Peezy. And everything around me, it was just like, it's just me though. You know, like even when I had people back then that were interning trying to figure out the game, I still was figuring out the game. I only knew what I had researched, what I had been through, what I had studied. But I didn't know it all. I hadn't made no real accolades in my opinion at that time. So it was kind of like balls was getting dropped left and right, but I kept my head on straight. You know what I'm saying? I took everything. I went through that phase and having so many cats that it's not, when we talked about that label thing earlier, it's not the labels that ever got that turnaround game. It's here. Because it was like back then when I'm like trying to figure it out, but I'm also like still got this confident ass, you can't tell me shit attitude. I'm still dropping the ball. I'm not perfect. And I'm still like not getting my artists to where they deserve to be at that time. So how do I fix that? What do I do? And it wasn't even anything that God just started doing it. You know, moving this piece, moving that piece, you know, taking things away. And I never looked at it like a loss when me and Sino stopped working together. I didn't look at it as a loss. When me and AP stopped working together, I didn't look at it as a loss. Everything is a lesson, and those are still some of my strongest relationships to this day. Yeah. But back then, I had to hear the ridicule of, oh, that's the girl with the east side. I could do this, I could do that. So many grown-ass men that just felt like they could do this job better than me. And I would hear about it and still have to answer the phone when they call me the next day to ask a question. And then and I could never just, I heard you said this. Nope, it's all good. It's all love, my G. Yeah. And it all was. Because now, like in these last 4 or 5 years, them same people been, hey, what's up? You want to answer my calls? For sure, bro. And because of the law of attraction, I got to give you a different energy than back then when I wasn't with the law of attraction. And I was building a mentality off of revenge, off of I'm going to show you better than I could tell you. So now, like back then, it was as soon as he come back around, yeah, nigga.
Like you were getting involved in the drama.
In my head.
Yeah.
In my head. Just hearing about it and wanting to address it when the time was right. And I felt like right now, like this, back then, this would be the time is right. But my mentality now has grown since then. My mentality now is I can shake your hand, plug you, and whatever the fuck else we got to get done.
That was two things when I was listening to your talk that really stood out to me. Is one thing that it sounded like a transitional phase of basically transforming, really. Like when you transform as a person, a couple notes was, one, you said that you're going to keep knocking on doors and you don't care about the response. Like, you're just gonna keep knocking on these doors, and that stood out to me. And you were like, because you knew like the outcome is greater than a no or a rejection. And to me, when I heard that, it made me change my line of thinking. Like, okay, just because this didn't happen right now doesn't mean you say fuck you to this person or screw this person. It's almost like, no, you just keep asking, because if you really want the big picture in life, you're gonna have to do some things that, you know, show that you really want it, even though your ego is telling you fuck that person. And that's like a huge sign of maturity and growth, that you're willing to do that. And I thought that was pretty damn motivational, I'm not gonna lie. When I listened to that talk you had, and everybody should go check out that talk, there was a lot of shit you said where I was just like, you have to transform. Even the girl said to you at one point that you wanted to show everybody, like, didn't you just want to show everybody that you were fucking shit up? Didn't you just want to show people that you were killing it and prove it and throw it in their face? And you're like, no, what's that? That's not growth. I remember you saying that's not growth to do that. So, like, for you, it's almost like you want to become a real leader. Like, you really want to build a legacy where people follow it and really respect it and appreciate it. How many female entrepreneurs are you surrounded with that share this mentality with you? Like, do you have like-minded people that you're able to just bounce back and forth with? When you're having these conversations, are you learning anything more now? Or are you at a point where it's like, okay, I just know what needs to get done?
It's so crazy. I had this conversation with Vez before, and it was just like, I used to have this closed-minded to where, like, my knowledge is the capacity to which I needed to be. And anything you say to me, like, I don't trust it. But that's when I realized I got trust issues. And what growth patch is real authentic if you're not open to a new generation? We are not the same whatsoever. We all think different. We operate differently. The culture changes, and you got to be able to recreate yourself every birthday to me is a new year. So I feel like with that comes a recreation. Whether you recreating what you already are trajectory, what your path already is, or you recreating and washing away what that path was to restart something new. You got to recreate yourself. And in order to do that, you might have to let go of old beliefs. Like, when we sit and talk about breaking generational curses, how can I sit here and be like, I'm breaking these generational curses when I'm not even open up my mind enough to break the cycles and curses that I done put in my mind, because I was the only person talking to my mind all them years. And meanwhile, here come these new bloods, these new people, these new perspectives, these new creatives that have a new way of seeing things. I'm blocking either a blessing or a piece of knowledge if I don't open up to that.
Yeah, in India, they basically say karma is you're building memory within your system, right? And over time, that memory that you're building can really work against you. And so you're basically saying, like, not only the generational impact coming into your system, but also what you built growing up your whole life. And now you got to kind of reverse all that. Like, all right, that's over with now. We got to start fresh and start new. Which is hard, right? What was the hardest thing for you to let go of as far as just being a human, just being a person? What was the hardest thing for you to let go of and just be like, okay, that's it? Like,
my ego.
Yeah.
My ego, it was terrible. Terrible. And I would be the first to say it. It wasn't like that bad, but for me and where I'm at now, like, I can't believe I used to think like that. This is the thing though. Like, if I ever fell out with somebody over my ego, I was right. Like, I know that. I'm not standing down. I'm not standing down on that. When I'm right, and I was right. However, my ego would be like, once I've proven that I'm right, I'm cutting you off for life. I don't got nothing else to say to you because you offended me. I had to really stop taking things personal in business. I don't know you past business. Why am I that upset that I'm just like, I see you out, I hear your name? Nah. But what I would never do is if like a call come or somebody, I'm going to always, I want to see people, I want to see you, you know, hey, what it is, what it is. It ain't in me to like block off no resource or no opportunity, but it's in me to where, I ain't got to never talk to you on that. Hey, bro. Hey, sis. None of that.
Was part of like...
It's not healthy.
Was part of your, you know, now that labels were looking at you guys at a certain time, early on in the stages and midway through, did any of it motivate you to be like, okay, I'm going to show you guys what the hell we're going to do? And
hell yeah.
what, like, did it change how much time and effort you're putting into it, or did it just change how you're strategizing it?
You saw it. Listen, being signed to a major our first go round in 2018 opened me up to a world of this shit ain't cut and dry. This is not what y'all think it is. This is not fairy tale land. You literally have to get in this building and know how to work. I will never forget our first meeting with Motown Records. We had to sit into 9 different meetings in one day. Wow. 9 different departments. And I had to remember every single department, every person, every phone number, every face of who was going to work this project and this music for us. And in our first going into it, was dumb enough to believe that all I had to do was turn the music in and y'all handle the rest. Learn real quick. Absolutely not. That ain't it. And that's just, you cannot operate like that.
Oh.
No.
So a lot of cats right now that are upcoming in the game think it's just a simple process when you get inside and you're talking to a label.
You got to have a game plan. You need to have a point person, a manager, somebody that can talk that business and know how to move the pieces in that building. It's chess, and it's chess through and through, but it's also a thought process. You got to trust your team. You got to trust that person. You have to understand what you up against. You are in a major label sign to where they have a multitude of artists. And those artists are doing streams beyond what most Detroit artists are doing. So you got to compete with that. You, first of all, got to understand that when you go in them buildings, there's a department, right? Whether it's marketing, radio, whatever. They got people in that department, each one of those departments. Some are stronger in their work ethics and in their work reach and their relationships than others. You might come in there, and just because you got signed, you might not get the best of the crop that understand what it's going to take to break you, that's going to put claws and really strap on their boots, market, push, promote, hold people accountable when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. You might not get them people that, and even if you first get in there, and you might get somebody that is like, you sharing an A&R with some of the top streaming artists. You just might. But now you vying for their attention while they working with them. Because just as much as you demanding as an artist, what you think they are. And when that artist call and say, I want my A&R, I want my project manager, or I want my PR, whoever, because they all, whether you with a PR team or a label, it's levels to it. And you have to be able to recognize that. The hotter you are, the more attention and greatness you're going to get. But when you go in there and you got a talent, they believed in you. They gave you this little deal. You got your team. Your team supposed to be pressing that line. You supposed to be pressing your own line, building that content up. And that team supposed to be pressing it, getting it out, making sure they understanding it, connecting the dots for them. They don't live here. They don't necessarily understand everything. So that manager, whoever you got in that forefront, fighting for you in that building, they got to understand that it's beyond making them like you and love you. They got to respect you. They going to like you regardless. It's always going to be a smile and a handshake. They got to respect you.
Now, when you were talking about business ventures and when you were understanding business in the beginning of stages of being an entrepreneur and how it excited you, when you were learning these new levels of what the industry really is, did that excite you too to develop more and understand it more? Or was it more like a turnoff, like, what the fuck? Like, that's a whole thing I didn't care for.
Nope. Every piece of this industry or of my career has been same meat, different sandwich, basically. Like, damn. Literally, when it was here and we trying to break through Detroit, I was on the line with my uncle who passed away. He was a known DJ back then in his time. And then he just kind of like, this how you got to work the DJs. This what you got to do. You got to, talk to them like this, do that. Then I realized, okay, I got to do that for mix show. But when I want to go mainstream and really get real rotation in radio, this a whole different type of level of a relationship. Same thing with production. Same thing. You might get a production team, and even though it say AKA Beats, AKA got 3 other artists under him or 3 other producers under him. And AK not really giving you that AK tag or the AK beat until he feel like it's worth it. So you might get it from his camp where it's him and 4 other people tags on that same beat. Why? Because Big Dog got all the other beats because that's who he making all his money.
Are they gonna shut down my podcast for this one? That's like some serious insider shit. And then
It's not insider. That's not insider.
For real?
That's not insider.
So basically, if I buy a beat from Zaytoven, there's a chance that Zaytoven didn't even create the beat?
You gonna know.
Just by
You
listening to
gonna
it?
know if you gonna know if Zay really embraced you as an artist.
No.
Got in there, made you some beat packs, or gave you a strong beat pack, or got in the studio with you one-on-one and made that beat from scratch. Versus you getting a pile of beats from that producer's manager, and you gotta sort through him and the other producers that they got under their management that they're trying to get off to. When meanwhile, you just want a hard ass beat from that one producer. That's not insider. That's just logic.
Damn. I'm a dumb motherfucker. This is some interesting ass shit.
That's logic.
Do you got 20 more minutes or do you got to roll? Because I got to use the restroom real quick. All right, I'll be back in 20. I'll be back. Yeah, it's kind of like when I figured out about showcases. Like during showcases, I realized like it's just a bunch of artists basically paying to perform and bringing their friends to pay for the door. And you're just really profiting the showcase event hoster. And I was like, it took me forever to figure out that was happening.
Yeah.
Well, because I was a part of it because I'm in a band and my band we got booked to perform at a place and they're like, you need to sell $250 worth of tickets in order for you guys to perform here. And then I kind of put it all together like, oh, we're paying to be like we're paying you guys. Like it seems like it's an opportunity, but it's like no, you guys are just profiting off of us. So those are like little insider things that people don't know. And you know what I really realize is nobody says shit because they're afraid of hurting their rapper friends' pockets. Like there's so much shit I could say about what really goes on in the industry, but then it's like, oh, that hurts my boy's pockets though if I say that shit, right? Type stuff. So
it do, but it don't. In this day and age, people just if you even just said the name, like they get them caught. Like you see, I just mentioned a major label that we were talking. I ain't saying the name, and I don't got nothing against, but I'm not bigging up any other platforms by just dropping a name or a person, just dropping a name. Like the moment you say that name, we so clout chasing of a culture, not just Detroit, just overall. Just hearing that name gonna send Google traffic to that person.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, even if you say it and it's the truth, my thing is we continue to damn near like deceive the industry or the next up and coming by not being transparent about this stuff.
Well, you're right, and that's where the cats like Dogface, Calderon come into play, right? Because they're like checks and balances guys that really go like, yo, we're gonna make sure that people are doing things in a manner that's respected and obviously it has ethical backing to it. Because there is a lot of people that move and shake stuff that hurts a lot of people, and they basically expose and exploit the system where it only benefits them, but it hurts everybody else around them.
It's a way to do everything. And Dogface knows this. Like, I've talked to him before. I don't have an issue with him, but anytime I see something that doesn't add to the value of what our market is, like some conversations we need to have internally without it being on social media. We need to have like real nigga conversations, like real person, real direct man-to-man, one-on-one conversations, pop all that shit out. But to put it out on social media like that, and we're already like delicate as a market. You have so many eyes looking at what we got going on. And if the first thing they think is, here they go again, not getting along, like you turning away more business than you are bringing it to us. And I know everybody can come with the I don't give a fuck attitude, but let's be completely real here. You do, because you wouldn't have, if you didn't, you wouldn't have put it on the internet.
That's a question I kind of wanted to ask you because we had Big Hurt come on here and he talked about at the time that labels were looking at Detroit, they were afraid to sign Detroit artists because of the street affiliation and all that stuff, gang violence and whatnot was going on. Is that still relevant today?
It's relevant in the movie industry right now. It's relevant on some, not so much in the music industry because so many levels of the violence, pieces of it have come, but also labels want to work where it's easy to work. If it's a clusterfuck, if it's all over the place, it's just like, I can spend my money somewhere else. But when we're talking like, even with movie industries, like, yeah, they do look at that like heavily, the movie industry heavily. They don't want to work with, like they don't have to work with the likes of who our street artists are or who our influencers are when they can go grab a Hollywood A-list or B-lister and do what they want to do. We literally tap in and banging on the doors of their industry by being this renaissance of indie film, but they also look at how we interact, how do we operate in business. And then if it's always drama, if it's always something, it's going to just continue to be that. And the only thing we're going to end up seeing is a whole bunch of reality TV shows and not a lot of like real big screen TV movie deals looking and having the likes of us always consistently in them.
And no offense to Tubi, but that too, like I don't really like look at that as like full value of what the potential of a Detroit actor could be, because I feel like there's higher levels to it. And like you're saying, if the wrong message is being put out there constantly, then it might make people turn away. Especially, you're right, Hollywood doesn't fuck around, dude.
No,
you can't mess around with Hollywood. They look
don't.
at everything you do and be like, you're done just for that interview.
So listen, when I was on Creator Con, and Power Keys 2 is coming, so I'm real big. I'm advocating for the music, the entertainment business side. Like, we don't have a lot of educated entertainment professionals, whether it's music, film, media, like there's not a lot of behind the scenes people that know how to work through the industry, right? I'm gonna give you a prime example. All of these different all of these different clips was going out about all of the negative looks of Detroit, right, over the past couple of weeks. But there was not a point or a moment where there's a like genius click when those nosy people outside of Detroit that's in the industry, and they're not even nosy, they just want to know what's going on so they know how to move, and they make that call to say what's going on. That other person on that call from Detroit or wherever the education behind knowing how to talk to that, knowing how to kind of jump in your press bag and take up, like, look, I know you see that, we ain't, well, this what we on. But you got those that really will feed into that and answer that phone call. You doing too much. First of all, chop it right there. Gossip, whatever you seen on the internet, that's what you saw on the internet. But let me tell you about this artist I got. Let me tell you about this movement we working on.
Wow.
Like, how do we pivot the conversation? Because, yes, people going to talk, they're going to say what they feel, they're going to post it to YouTube. All that's cool. But for too long, when we say gatekeepers, like, y'all was on that list. And when I say, okay, you calling me a gatekeeper or you putting this title on me, I don't look at it as like gatekeeping to keep the door shut. My nigga, I've been working to open up every door, window, walkway, driveway, freeway. So when I say I'm gatekeeping something, I'm going to tell you that's not even it's nowhere near the definition of where everybody think it is. It's when a call come to me from Khan and Metro Times, from a label, from a Walla or whoever, a YouTube, a Spotify, or whatever. When that call come to me and they tell me they need to talk to somebody or they got something they want to do, there's not a person walking this city that know me or that has dealt with me or that ain't got that type of call from me. Hey, look, I got this going on. Hey, look, this phone call just came. Who you want to handle this? I ain't everybody manager. I'm one person manager. However, them calls is going to come because I'm serious about what I'm building. And I'm opening up my network. I'm not being closed-minded. And when they come, they're going to get a real understanding from me. Who need to be there? Who you need to talk to? What else you need? All the way down to what food you want.
Damn.
Motivation to hustle from Minnesota. Them boys came to town. I said, what y'all need? Man. What's the cool food spots? I sent them a list of all the restaurants to go to. They hit everyone like a food tour while they was in town, and then hit me like, thank you so much. Listen, when you come to Detroit, you gonna feel what we feel. It took us damn near a decade to get this boy to where we at. We dealt with all of the rappers that got attitudes because they had this back when, man, I seen it all. All of it. You either gonna jump on this motherfucking boat and help us get it where it gotta go, or you gonna keep pushing it to where you gotta go and stay out our way. Because there's some of us that's really sacrificing, that's really in the mud, that's really doing this, that's spending time on the phone, working two coasts. I work East Coast, Pacific, West Coast, Pacific time. 3 hours behind. Like, it's 6 o'clock here, it's 3 o'clock over there. It's 9 o'clock here. I just put my kid to bed. Now it's 6 o'clock over there. Hey, did you get this done? Hey, did you see this email? Can we talk about this tour routing? Can we talk about... I got to work 2 different time zones and down there having the same conversation 3 times over because I got to have it with myself, my team, my artists, or business or whatever I'm dealing with, and the person on the other side of the coast that couldn't answer because it's 7 a.m. and it's super freaking 10 a.m. on my end. Like, those that's really in the mud working, that's putting together events, reaching out and putting together decks and saying, this is the new Detroit. Come be a part of it. We not done. And for us to sit here and be all of this trying to tear each other down when there's so many eyes looking for just collaboration.
Yeah.
This market worth $1.8 billion. Why you think we ain't tapped into that? Why you think that?
Because they're not collaborating, working together.
Bingo. Instead, we got more thrill out of sitting up talking about some decade-old shit that we can't change. When all it gotta ever take is a conversation off the internet. Real men have real business conversations. If you care and you really want to see something happen, you're not taking it to the internet to call another man out. You know how much respect a lot of our older, it's certain, I'm not talking about every situation. There's certain rappers out of this market that got hella respect in the industry. Hell of a respect. They know exactly who they are. They know exactly who they are. And I pray that these moments have brought them to a time and an understanding of, yes, you that important to this market. And then we got those that just want to sit up and talk all this shit. Bro, either put up or shut up.
That must be your worst nightmare too, because if you're managing, social media had to be like a blessing for you, but also your worst nightmare. Because now they can go on with no PR training or anything and just say what they want to say.
Bro.
And then you got to handle the cleanup after that.
Listen, when them lists first started coming out, the first list that came out was on Say Cheese. And I want to say this was in 2017 or 2016. They made a list of the top Detroit rappers. We are not in a position to rank nothing. Nothing. And then somebody that's not from here to do it, I was so offended. I was on social media. I was pregnant with my youngest at the time. Vez was locked up. Couldn't nobody tell me to stop. I was going at any and everybody I thought had something to do with that list. Because all you doing is tearing down the real, what could be. All you doing is putting a placeholder. You living in this lack mentality by creating a list to say this person number one and it's only one number one spot. No, we all, the same reason why I don't get titles. Because it's too much abundance. You can literally say you're an assistant and you can do all the management work. You can literally say you are the great rapper who got all these plaques. Meanwhile, it's 5 other rappers that got just as much as influence, just as many numbers, just no major label behind them. We don't have a number 1, 2, 3. We have a collective. And until we really embrace that, we're going to continue to keep bickering amongst each other and low-key mad at this person or whatever, taking shots on social media. Get off that.
Do you think it's a Detroit thing, or do you think it's just entertainment that has these hierarchy moments and even just these ego trip moments?
So I follow all of the inner city blog sites like the Hip Hop Labs and everything of every other market. And I see them put their list out. I see what, whenever you put a list out, especially in these inner city cultures or inner cities where they're trying to bubble up, this always going to create that type of tension. And everybody want the click, so they're going to create the list, right?
Right.
But then you have those markets where all they want to see is somebody win. You have these markets where they post something up about this artist and they just loving it. Then you got some pages where it could be a page from Chicago and they posting a Detroit artist. They so thorough and so in tune with their artist, they commenting, why is a non-Chicago artist on this platform? So in Detroit, we have those that go either way. It's not one way here.
Well, the sad part is the whole payola concept is a real factor, and it's kind of scary because basically rappers are able to create their own advertisements and they're able to create their own promotion and they're able to create they're able to put themselves out in whatever way they want to put out, and they can also put out other information. They're able to pay these platforms basically. Yeah. So it's an unfortunate thing because whoever's moderating these platforms is supposed to be creating the content based upon their opinion and maybe what the opinion of the community is. Yeah. So when artists are paying for it, it kind of changes narratives constantly. Which is unfortunate at the end of
It
the
is.
day.
You just have to have integrity for your platform to say,
No.
yes, I accept money, but I'm not posting it in this way.
Yeah.
Even give an alternative. This is the type of narrative I can post. Or I can say this with this type of caption, but I'm not going to say it in this manner. There's a such thing as really standing on business, as we say, and being communicative. No, I'm not going to post that type of narrative. However, if you still want to do business, my price is my price, but we got to change this narrative. Let me give you some suggestions.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, really. Unfortunately, it's people with iPhones, and they're just like hitting the Cash App button and like, all right, bet, boom. Yeah. It's not like a company or organization that they're sitting in and like, all right, we have to really pay attention. Like, this isn't the New York Press or anything like that. Yeah. Like, it's just whatever we get paid for to do is what we're gonna do. Because
listen, with Forbes, with a lot of these different, like, even now the list that you can like pay to be on when they nominate like the top 40, all of that, like those are you a lot of times you'll get the applications in your email if you signed up, and they tell you like you can enroll yourself for this amount. You know, you invested in yourself to get advertised on this platform for this list. That's totally different than somebody that's just creating this list of what they think is top motion or having the most motion. Yeah. Like, first of all, I'm going to say it again. Detroit not the market to even have the space to even do that. Like, we got to come together and really work first and really see, like, this has been the most we've ever seen, but it's still a lot of underlining work.
So when everybody says Detroit's on fire, like, everybody's looking at Detroit, are you saying, like, it is, but it's not at the magnitude where we can speak at the level the level we're speaking at?
Let me tell you the difference that I'm speaking of is what I'm advocating for, the education of it. Yeah. In Atlanta, when Atlanta popped, all of those artists that went up and that are still successful today, where did their managers come from? Atlanta. 9 times out of 10, majority of our artists here, it's only a few of them where their managers are from here. Otherwise, like, you literally have to outsource to a team that know this shit to help you. Wow. So we literally like...
So some people have outsourced managers?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
And it's okay because they have bigger, they literally have more opportunity than what the ones here. So for me, I see that as a gold mine of what we need to do to build up our managers here for the next generation. Like, where we at right now, this is great. It works for everybody, whether your manager from Detroit or not, whether your team from Detroit or not. What I'm saying is that if we're trying to get ourselves beyond, like, we got to have that, we got the talent and no education. It's a reason why our artists feel like we not giving them what they need to hire the ones they see moving around in the city. They got to go get somebody that got bigger resources, bigger opportunity, been in the game, got better relationships that can get the job done. Wow. Meanwhile, we are capable. If you want to be in that industry, you're capable. We're capable.
Yeah. When you saw First Day Out come out and it broke open the scene and everything like that, what was your mindset as far as watching, not to say that he came out of the blue because obviously All-Star Ball Hard, all that stuff, but to see it happen like that, did it kind of make you go like, damn, we're working so long, and to somebody to break out like that, did it motivate you more, or like what mindset did it put you in when you witnessed that happening?
When that happened, I felt like a great moment for the city. And that's what it was. That was a great moment for the artist. That was a great moment for the city. It was an awakening for me to say, this shit'll work.
Okay.
Nothing less than that. But this can work. Keep going. Keep going. Like, yeah. It don't take away from what. Yes, we working hard. We working hard because we building it from the ground up. And we really like tapping into something that they're not used to. So if a hit record come out of another artist from another way, great. That's good for all of us because we all having these conversations. And now we can point to an exact example.
Right. One other thing I noticed is you got this picture of like Gucci Man on the internet where it looks like you guys are friends or some shit.
Why is that picture like that with everybody?
Yeah, but like what do you mean?
So many people looked at that picture. Like, I take pictures with a lot of people.
That's like some friend type shit. Yeah. That's not like our post for the camera. Like that was like literally I'm just chilling. But that's like
I was happy that man stood on business and did what he was supposed to do with Vez. Yeah. Verse, video, that shit just.
Why does it not work sometimes? Like, does it things fall through, or was it just like
everybody hear about the stories of you getting a verse from a bigger artist and either they don't show up for the video. Like for me, the happiness you saw in that was me being able to set up a video shoot all the way in Miami, get in contact with this man team, make sure my artist is straight, and make sure he get there on time. That was like my first time in that experience. And I was like, shit, we about to do it all. Oh, this easy. Easy. Because the ones prior to that, nothing had been as big as Gucci.
The thing is, Vezzo has such a respect, and especially when outside artists from other cities are looking at Detroit, they look at Vezzo as like, you know, one of the guys. Like, this isn't just an artist, this is one of the guys. Like, there's a higher amount of respect for anything to ever not happen the way it's supposed to happen. Doesn't seem like it makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, like, overall, everything goes as planned. Usually, even if you have a bigger, like, you guys had Meg Thee Stallion and stuff like that. Like, that's
nothing perfect. It's the rap game. Like, stuff happens. Stuff happens. We had to shoot a big video last November for Paint the City. Flew all the way out of town. Thought it was happening on a one day. Had everything set up. All for the artist to be like, oh, I need it to happen on Thursday. It is Monday. You telling me we got to stay down here? And now I got to relate this to not only my artist, but whoa. Over budget, hello, like you talking to them labels, you got certain budgets with each video. Now I'm about to be over, but thank God, because he's such a genuine person and he's surrounded by people that believe in him, it was easy to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got Kodak out here, and it was funny because everybody said it looked like felt like he was at home.
He
like
did,
he's just walking around chilling.
Listen, like when you a genuine person and people can feel like they can be themselves around you. It comes out like that's not a private thing. No. So that's something that's always been there. He's very genuine.
I gotta ask you the golden question because it's been wrapped around a lot of people's minds. You guys meeting Eminem on stage. Mm-hmm. Did you have any part in like conducting that or like getting that to happen?
Shit. The only thing I wanted to make sure of was that he was there to perform and come out on stage, because I felt like, I don't know, but maybe Eminem is gonna be there.
For real? Yeah. You just had a sense?
But it all just aligned up perfectly, and it was a huge level of respect when M finally got to like physically see Vez. Yeah. And I think that like in itself, it don't even matter how it happened, it's that it happened.
Yes.
And it was something that, we knew we was gonna go out there for the performance. We had that set up already, but it was that nobody ever knows if M is going to actually show up and actually be there for some certain stuff or whatever. He was there, and it all made sense.
What can you just is there like a glimmer of what the conversation was on camera, or is that like just like?
No, there was a level of that was a lot of like respect being given.
Really?
And vice versa. Like, I think that the biggest dynamic is to know that this man got respect for you as an art. Like, he got respect for your art. He got respect for you. You know what I'm saying? And that was a lot of like that whole dynamic with or without the picture that you guys saw. Like, if the picture hadn't even been taken, it was the fact of there's a level of respect.
That's cool, because a lot of people don't know like if Eminem was paying attention to the city. And obviously Vezzo was on podcast talking about like, we respect Eminem and everything like that, but we like, whatever the conversation is there. But to see them talking, like, you do see Eminem like, yeah. Yeah,
they really had a conversation. Yeah. Like, it's, again, not my business. I'm not about to sit, I would rather for Vezzo to speak on that directly, but, there's, like I said, there's just a level of respect.
Last couple things I wanted to talk to you about, there's a lot of entrepreneurs obviously watching this, a lot of female entrepreneurs, but even just artists themselves, which I consider them entrepreneurs in this day and age. What do you get reached out the most for when people reach out to you, just in general? What is the most reoccurring topic that you keep hearing people reach out to you about?
To help them with their music.
Really? Mm-hmm. And so you can't say yes to everybody, obviously. So it's like you...
Nope, I can't.
Yeah, so music is the biggest thing that people
Music is the biggest thing. And it's just difficult because I try to give it attention depending on where I'm at. If I'm somewhere with my kid, or if I'm, just out running errands, and you can tell, cause like when I go run an errand, I don't care. It's no makeup, it's jogging suit, Nike kids, Titan boys, it's hustle time. Like I'm not on that pretty, I'm on that hustle stuff. Yeah. So if you see me and I'm like, it's hard for my facial expressions to not disclose like what's going on with me in a way. So when you see that, it'd be like, I see you working, I see you running, but can you listen, bro? If you see me running or doing whatever.
So, but you had to get rid of the face if you got the transformation happening to you. Like, did you get rid of the face that says, get the fuck away from me?
It depends on where I'm at. I still have it depending on where I'm at. When I'm with my kids, you know what's crazy? Lately, when I'm with my kids and people approach me, I actually have been trying to speak more and talk more.
Really?
Because I want my oldest is 14. Basketball player, everything. Like and my youngest is 5. He's a sponge. He's 5 going on 17. They watch everything I do, and when they with me or even without me, they still like are sponges to what I do, and I want them to know like nothing is ever that irritating to where you can't at least say hi, smile. Okay, can you approach me at a different time?
Yeah.
Everything don't got to be an attitude.
Yeah. That's cool that you do that, but I mean, that obviously the cat has to be a little bit infuriating, but a little bit, just only because privacy is privacy. Just time with your people is time with your people.
Some people don't care. I've been at my son's games and I'm Mage basketball, and they are literally, hey sis, I know you into the game. Boy, I'm a basketball mom all the way through. I am a basketball mom. So it's no way you even look at me while my kid on the court and you think it's like, because I'm so intense with it.
Do you do that too, though? Do you ever like talk to somebody? Like, do you give people their space? If you need to talk to somebody about business, but there's timing, you can reach out to them whenever you want anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever phone number you need to figure out, you can figure it out. For them, they can't figure out how to contact you.
I do plot. Now, say for instance, if I'm out somewhere and there's somebody I absolutely like may not run back into this person, I'm gonna watch. I'm down playing eyeball games. Like the moment I see you break off by yourself, or you got this one moment where you're not looking like you in no frenzy or nothing. Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna pop up when you hit that corner.
For real?
Oh, for sure. I need that number. I need that contact. I need that direct info.
With last thing I wanted to ask you about is the Flint scene. You guys made Flint like brothers to Detroit, right? Like it's a real kinship going on with all those cats, and Vezzo shows love to him, and you guys are all showing love to the Flint cats, and the Flint cats are flourishing. How did you guys, like, how did that happen? Like, how did that connection between Flint and Detroit happen?
It's an untold, if we treat Oakland rappers like our cousins, how could we not treat Flint like they are brothers? Like, it ain't nothing but a hop, skip, and jump up the freeway. They always come down and show love. Them boys show love.
Yeah.
They will literally drive from down there in a heartbeat. If I'm like, hey, we got this private dinner. Hey, we got this private party. They coming. And they supporting. I've hit them for 313 day and 313 weekend. Yeah, they come thick. A lot of people. They do. But they are so gracious for these opportunities. And that for me you show me you got gratitude and you grateful, we out of here.
All right.
There's nothing I got for you but wins.
With all the people that DM you about music and everything like that, is there something you wish you could respond to by saying like, this, you'll get better information if you ask me about this instead? Like, is there something that you wish people would ask you that like, like you're using me for the wrong thing, or like you're addressing
Sometimes, yeah. Because it's like, don't ask me to manage you. I think that everybody knows. Don't ask me to manage you. Let me ask you, can I manage you? Make it get that to that point. Oof. Make me be like, yo, let me manage you. What I gotta do? Move me. But don't come to me and ask me to manage you. Now, coming to me and asking me, hey, look, I've been working. What do you think I could do in this area? Or do you have a resource here?
Yeah.
But don't ask me to manage you.
What do you have any projects lined up for your own personal self and for anything that you want to promote?
Yep. So we are rebranding and doing how we eat and snack chips. It's moving and operating. I have Power Keys. It is a powerful entertainment educational panel. It's an all-day thing. We're spending about an hour and 20 to 30 minutes on each topic. We're going from music to film to influencers to branding, creating retirement plans, and really hearing from industry professionals who are in these lanes.
Cool.
Not just from Detroit, some from Detroit that you don't even know from Detroit. And they are making strides in the industry, whether it's liquor brands or major labels or whatever. Like, Power Keys, I started it in 2017. I haven't did another one since. This is my first one back, and this will now be an annual thing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's something I'm very, very big on.
When's the date again?
December the 2nd.
Okay, cool. So it's
Tickets are on Eventbrite, so they can give.
Isn't that like a week and a half from now or
It
something?
is.
Like 2 weeks? That's like nothing from now. That's crazy. We got to promote this immediately so people know.
Yeah, they know. Oh, they know.
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
out there.
Yeah,
It's just going out there more now. Like it's about to be the pressure week.
How big is the facility and everything like that? How many people are going to be in the building?
We can do up to 500 people.
Cool.
It's at the St. Regis Hotel. And then, let me see. So we have that.
Is it like exclusive kind of? Like, do you have to kind of have an invite if it's 500 people or something like that?
Just Eventbrite tickets. You on my media list though.
Oh, hell yeah.
There is a conversation that is about podcasting that I need you to hear and maybe even give some pointers on.
Sick.
But
There.
yeah, we're gonna tap into it. We're gonna figure out how to get into this revenue that's untapped in this market. We're gonna figure out how to better work with each other, and even if we can't, how to coexist. We just just overall, like I'm personally taking the lead on educating, not just for others but for myself too. I want to continue to be a sponge to new ways, new opportunities, and new ways of doing things that I might have been conformed or conditioned to, and didn't want to change the way I did it before. So I'm challenging myself with this too.
No, that's really sick because it's not just about you; it's about everybody.
It's about everybody.
Really
and then
cool.
Let me see, 313 week, 313. So this is crazy. 313 day 2022 was a concert. 2023 it was a 3-day weekend.
Yes.
2024 it's a week. So we going all the way in and really structuring this out to be a seamless, full of entertainment but educational and just motivation for Detroit overall. Still partnering with a lot of big companies that I like to go for the companies that make a lot of money from us. If you're making a lot of money from us, you need to come and figure out how to recycle that dollar a little bit better. We building an ecosystem here, not a sales train.
Taking leave, right?
Yeah, we're not doing that. So the 313 week is coming. There'll be more announcements on that. Working day and night over Vezzo's projects, live from the 6th. I have a few more projects coming out with artists. I have
You got the Chucky artist.
Chucky's under IUR, so yes, Chucky's coming. Very proud of where Chucky is headed. We got some really big plans for Chucky. More Pay JR, Bert. There's a lot of great artists that I'm like working with, and I think it's dope. I'm seeing like some greatness coming from a lot of different artists. IUR out of Detroit just overall, and I think the more that we can like figure out a great bubble for this to live in, it'll survive and it'll thrive.
Yeah.
I may do some events, some more like concert productions, but for the main thing, I want to create a lifestyle experience for entertainment professionals, like industry professionals here. So there'll be some different things that I'm going to be announcing on my page, from like nightlife events to educational events to just open networking. There's a lot of stuff coming up.
It's a lot. It's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool because everything you do isn't just helping you, it's helping everybody. Like I said earlier, it's like a whole community that you're trying to build and really just trying to get an orchestration here. It's almost like you are orchestrating or trying to help orchestrate the development of the infrastructure of Detroit music.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit has been done, but there's a lot more that can do to solidify it. And somebody who's been through it all is the only person that can really lead people.
You're talking to somebody that spent years fighting over, you know, making sure all the right artists are on Summer Jam. At one point, forget it being the right artist. Our artists need to be on Summer Jam, not no secondary bought stage. Like I spent years just on the front line advocating for us.
You had to convince them to get Detroit artists on the main stage.
What? They used to only book Vezzo, Peezy, and Tom Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vez put his foot down with Hot 107. Like, I'm bringing all my homies. I'm bringing a whole team Eastside, everybody coming out. So I used to be this little amateur manager. I ain't gonna tell y'all how I got this done, but I used to get these. They got, you know, you would go. I had to go pick up credentials. Wristbands would be handed, and it was just like I got 5 wristbands and 20 people to get in here because 10 of them performing with Vez. What am I gonna do? But you know what? No matter how frustrated I might have been or how hot it was, and I'm trying to get all these people back there with only 5 wristbands, and I still made it happen. Yes, this is real. This is so real that it don't happen like that no more for nobody. Like,
damn.
It don't happen. But listen. That was something that he stood on, and I stood behind it. If he performing on a big stage, he bringing his people. And for a long time, them program directors and all, they wasn't having it for summer jams like that. Like, it was, you gotta fight. You gotta really like show them you putting the work in. You gotta really like. And in the one year, 2018, they opened up. BJ bought the stage. BJ bought a stage and put the stage on the grounds of where the main stage was at DTE Energy. That year, they had every Detroit rapper that was like really putting out music and everything. BJ put that, and I mean put it together. And it was like we needed that, and I'm glad it happened, but they deserve more than that. We had to fight for so many years, and a lot of them, like for BJ to spend his own cheese and he invested in that stage. He believed in it that much. Like, it's stuff untold that we don't talk about. But it was sacrifices that we all was like, whether they hate us or love us, in the end, we doing this for Detroit. And it's still like that right now. So I just, you know, there's got to be a respect level for that type of work ethic,
for sure.
For that type of integrity, to where we definitely like we gonna fight nail and tooth. All the real ones, like and they know. And when I say this, the real ones know, because we all either talk at some point, collaborate, or got to be the ones all speaking on the panel together.
Yeah.
We all know it. Like, how do we? There's a lot more we can do.
I like what you said earlier, too, about the coexisting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, learning how to coexist as artists and entertainers and people in the entertainment industry.
Listen, they do it in Hollywood all the time. I learned that. I went off so bad for months and like, y'all ain't doing this. Y'all said y'all was gonna do that. Da, 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 da. I mean, literally the next day was just like, okay, so what are we gonna do next? Like, you ain't mad at me? I feel a little bad that I went off on you that hard. We okay? Yeah, we good. What's next? You got to learn how to coexist and still work in business and not take nothing personal. And now those are like some of my closest friends in the industry.
Yeah.
So
rap, yeah, obviously rap has the reasons behind it are deep as hell for why it's hard for people to move on from certain things. But
yeah.
If people don't start listening to what you're saying, then the spotlight that's on Detroit will eventually fade away.
I won't say that it'll fade away, but it's just going to be like another facade. Another, oh yeah, I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I feel confident in my mentality and how I feel about the industry, because I really kind of foresaw a lot of this before anybody cared to drop a rap or launch podcasts. Like, we never had this many podcasts. We never had this many rappers. So, do I think that what I'm saying is knowledgeable? Yes. Do I think it'll change the culture and the mentality for the better? Yes. Now, do I think that we will survive or thrive from it? Probably not. We can still survive if they still create music. We just won't be as lucrative. We won't be as prosperous. That ecosystem is going to keep flowing to other markets and not coming right back here to Detroit. No. Or, you know, we just continue to be a indie market. A strong indie market. A market you got to pass through when you're working an indie artist. We got to make that decision on, do we want to be an indie market or do we want to be a tier A market? Tier A is, they got to move that big artist through here for that to really make sense. This part of the promo run. And it can be once we get on that page. You didn't think about that, did you?
What?
Just being able to be like us being a tier A market. Not where you work your indie artists, but where you work your mainstream artists.
Well, it's interesting because the guys that were kind of in the position to kind of do that didn't do it, kind of.
Who?
Well,
you know, I ain't name dropped this whole thing. I done said something that I ain't name dropped, but I want to know who you talking about.
I'm just saying, like, damn, I mean, forget it, whatever. Like, I'm just saying, like, when you had cats like Eminem, Big Sean, when you had cats like Royce, who did take it to the mainstream level, that are from Detroit, that didn't really kind of do what you're saying right now.
Like, throw it back out there to bring in.
Yeah, like, be that guy that pushes it through.
So this is where the Detroit ego come in, right? Sorry. The Detroit ego comes in because in those moments, instead of saying, I'm hearing this record on the radio all the time, let me try to give this person a leg up and connect some dots, they go off of what they feel is a hard-ass rapper.
Yes.
So they would go and extend the olive branch to an artist we probably never heard of, but they think can flow their ass off. Meanwhile, you got A, B, C, D, E, F, G over here going nuts. They booked on every big show, every big stage, on mixed show radio. You seeing them like just moving around in this market to the point where you damn near calling to try to get a verse for them. But instead of you extending the olive branch to that, you go by what you feel is the right rap you want to hear, or the right cadence, or the right sound you want to hear. You co-sign that and it don't work out because you still got to do artist development.
That's the whole thing, because they did do that. A lot of artists got co-signed and like nothing fucking happened. It's like, why didn't you just take the chance on a Detroit rapper that already had the established?
It's a personal interest.
Right, okay.
Not even realizing this is business, not personal. That artist that you think is so dope still got to go through development. This is a hard market, but once you get it, you got it. And any artist, any comedian, anybody that came out of here or come through here and built their audience will tell you that. This is the hardest market, but when you get it, you got it.
Yes.
But you can't, the moment you decide, okay, I got this big chair, I'm the king of this throne, I live wherever I live at, and it ain't Detroit, but I'm living good, I'm great. I could go through any building, you see me on whatever red carpet. Instead of going to the facts, going at what is making sense for my market, that my hometown, I'm going to go off what I feel like is right, or what I feel like is along the lines of what I think is real rap, or creative, or whatever your piqued interest is. It's a personal move. It's a personal action. It's not business. Because if it was business, that olive branch would have been extended to the person who getting that motion.
So if you get to that position one day where you're at that level of, you have to that power of mainstream, let's just say to a Big Sean or Eminem equivalence, would you adopt their philosophy on it by just matching who's the best, or would you say we got to do something for the city?
No. It ain't even about doing something for the city. We got to do what makes sense.
Okay. Do you think it's possible with the Detroit artists?
Hell
for
yeah.
them to be like, a Detroit artist can come on the song with me?
Absolutely. We have. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have to be real with myself in that. Yes, everybody want to be this righteous claimant of the throne of I discovered this talent and built it from the ground up. But there's a reality check. Unless you got this label to put a crazy bag behind this artist to push them, then you got to go by what make business sense. Because the moment you say, okay, yeah, I rock with them, they might even cut you as whoever you are bringing in this artist that you got this peak personal interest in. They might even cut you a check for 6 figures for that artist. But you still got to develop that artist. And you as an artist, you got to still develop yourself. You still making music. So how you got time to develop this artist and you still got 10 times more things to do because you a Grammy nominated, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta make sense. We want to be, everybody want to be bosses, but who gonna be a leader?
Yeah.
So yes, like I'm building bosses. We all want to be a boss, but somebody gotta say, you know what? As a boss, I'm gonna put my nephews on, my nieces on, whoever before you. But as a leader, now we talking a different game.
Yeah.
Niece and nephew, hey, look, what y'all like to do? It might not be this right now. Or you just need to get in the studio with this one over here because they working and I got to make sure this straight. I don't even owe them no explanation, but that's the mindset. That's the mentality.
Damn.
We think from a personal space for too much.
This was an amazing talk.
Yeah.
This was an amazing talk. I learned like more in this episode than I learned in the whole combination of every podcast episode.
First ever to educate school.
You nailed
Big
it.
nail.
No, this is crazy. A lot of insight into the industry. I was very excited to have this talk with you because I needed to get my brain like shooken up by somebody who knows the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to hear it from somebody who like really, really does it on every angle and is really proving it on every angle. I really admire your message and what you're trying to do and the whole camp and everything that you guys have put down. I appreciate you being a part of this. Hopefully, is there anything else that you needed to promote? I hope I didn't skip over anything else.
There's Power Keys. The tickets are on Eventbrite. My best recommendation is to just follow me on IG because everything that's coming up, I post there.
For sure. You're going to come back on?
Yeah, I'm going to come back on.
For sure. You lying?
Yeah, I'm going to come back on. I'm going to come with a surprise next time I come.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Fuck with it. All right, we're at Parallel Sound Studio, High Low Visuals, shooting these productions. We're out. Peace.
Yes.